Okay, join me again now as we try to search back through our ancestry and try to find where we've all come from. That's probably the greatest search of all, is trying to find where we've been. That's what I'm doing. I'm trying to find. So I was looking up this theory, and there's all these reports of giants and their strange skeletons found. You can pause it and look at each one of these, though, these stories of Indians and stuff that people have found through time. McLeod Brothers find this and something. Check this one out here. Let me pause it real quick. Knightstown, Indiana. Skeleton is more than 7 feet in length, and the skull has horns about an inch and a half long, projecting upward from the point just behind the ears. Several similar skeletons have been found here in the past few weeks. All peculiar bones were found in gravel. They have these bones that they found, a race of giants and stuff that apparently lived in North America. Now, they used to collect these all the time over in Europe and stuff, and they would parade them around in some of the churches and say that they were actually the bones of a giant from the Nephilim, or that they were a bone up in Roman times. There's many accounts, I can find them for you, where they talk about in the churches of having bones of these giants that used to be warriors, of men of renown, that they would actually have in their and they got rid of these things at the start of the Dark Ages, and a lot of them were figured out later to have been dinosaur bones. But then again, you look at something like this and it makes you wonder. There's a scale portrait of this one bone that did not get taken by the Smithsonian, and there you go, right there. It's a giant femur. So, giants, Goliath, people like that. Here's two more pictures of giant footprints. The one on the right is the one that you've seen before, with the girl's feet sitting right next to it here a minute ago, or coming up. But then the one on the left is a new one, and it's supposedly found out in New Zealand or something. And it is said to be 17 inches without the toes. So, yeah. Now, it's a little bit smaller than the one on the right, but you judge on this, and the guy on the left would be about 16, 15, 14 foot tall with a big foot, and the guy on the right would be 18 feet tall. Here's a photo with Dr. Shock. He's a Egyptologist. It's pretty famous. He's the one that has the idea that the Sphinx has been around for a lot longer due to the erosion, which I think is actually just a collection point, which made it exaggerate a little more, but it still has the length of time he's looking at to get even the same effect out of it. But this footprint here, if you look at it, is almost 5 foot tall. I mean, this would be somebody that would be 38 feet tall, and that's going on the short side of things. Interesting fact about this one, being the largest that we do have available, also it has what appears to be 6 toes. You can see the big toe, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it looks like his pinky toe is stuck to the side of his other toe. Either that, or he'd have a lot of mud collected to his foot, perhaps. I don't know. Here's another giant footprint that puts something up in almost the 40-foot tall range. I mean, everybody says, oh, these got to be fake or just some anomaly type thing that happens out. But this washed out in the edge of a creek bed here, and then what's weird is it has a human footprint in the middle of it that is already stonified also. So not only was there a giant, but there was a person walking after him. You see that? I'm going to take a shot at it, but this is submitted by Nimalan Thiagarajan, and he's from India. And they found this up in the bush and tiger area of India. And you can see that his foot is just stuck in the heel of it there, and how big that actually is. And in comparison to his foot, another track, which is a little smaller, right? this one is in China. This one's in China. This one here is in Mexico. There are the toes of one with the heel and the pad footprint, and look how big that would actually be. It's just amazing. I mean, there's another giant footprint there that they found. This was in Australia in the outback. Giant feet. There's all these mountains too poking up that supposedly are like fallen giants, and you can see their faces and their body outlines everywhere, and some of them are pretty convincing. Many of them you have to catch at the right angle, but I mean, you know, you can always find a face in the clouds and things like that, but some of these get to be pretty impressive. This is actually said to be the devil's face. It's in Tandipi, Ecuador, and built out of the mouth, or built out of the face of a rock. But you can tell it's been carved, it seems. It's definitely been carved in antiquity, but look, it's got fangs and the way that it looks, and this thing is old. I wonder how old it actually is. You know, we've got stone giant faces that we've carved into walls and things before. What's to say that somebody else didn't carve it that big too before, or something along that line. Here's another South American Indian face found in the Andes. It has a very distinctive look to it. The nose seems to look very Aryan, I guess. This one is said to be a storm god looking over a mountain top down into a valley, and he's the thing that causes it to rain. By the way, this valley is greener than the other ones around it. Now, this is known to be a fake, but this does give you a size of what we're kind of looking at. You can tell that that foot is probably about 8 foot tall of a footprint. So if you had one 5 foot tall, the guy would only be, yeah, I don't know, 40 foot, something like that. Pictures of these giant men and women that I'll flash through for you, but you can see how much taller this guy is. I mean, estimate him to be almost 8 foot tall. The size of this guy here. Of course, those are small children and women. The size of this lady. She's got to be about 7 foot tall. A little over. Lady 7 foot tall. Two brothers that are giant black cowboys, supposedly, by the way. They're both almost 7 foot tall. Look at the size of this black lady here. Amazing her height. I think that's some kind of trick put in thing, but there she is getting her dress ready. This is Obama. Tallest lady was in the world in 1865. She was billed as being 7 foot 6 inches tall. Here's one of the only actual pictures we have of Indian giants in North America. This is an Indian giant mother. So she is that tall, and her child, both which died. She died in her arms, and they kept it that way, but you can tell she is as tall as he is at the feet. He's a 6 foot tall man. She's a 7 foot 4 tall lady. More giants through history. There's a guy that seems to be in the French Foreign Legion. There's Robert Wadlow, tallest person in the world for a good long time here in America. Oh, that's Don Kohler. Look at these two guys here. They're over in Arabian Sudan area, I'm guessing. Somewhere over there, the size they are. Of course, a lot of people have seen this, but this has been shown to be a fake. Something that they made for a movie. This is said to be one of the little-known Californian giants. That one of the last surviving one there was. Now, he's actually trying to give him a vaccine so he doesn't get smallpox or things like this. This is in the 1940s, and they're still available. You can tell that guy is almost 7 foot tall. Here's a man laying down next to a skeleton. You can tell he got his head about the right height, so then he's up against it, and he only comes really to the guy's knees or a little bit below that. That must be huge. And of course, we all remember the wrestler Andre the Giant and how huge he was compared to everyone else. I mean, look at the size of this guy here. And there's a story about the Pentagonian giants. These two ladies had come and met this explorer guy, and they exchanged things. It's amazing. Here's another giant woman. She's said to be over 8 foot tall. I believe, Pakistani or Indian girl that is supposed to be almost 7 foot tall, and that is her boyfriend. He's only about 5'9". I don't know if y'all remember Manute Bol, but the guy on the left is Manute Bol. The guy on the right is Spud Webb. But Manute Bol, look how much taller he is than Spud Webb. Now, Spud Webb's like 5'9" or something, and he had the ability to dunk at that small height. But you look at Manute Bol, and he actually could just stand there and put the ball into the net. There's a picture of Robert Wadlow, just to show you how much taller he is than the average human. Amazing. Here on the left is a picture of the Indian giant, and you can see the man trying to recreate him with his hands on his tummy. And so on top right hand corner of that picture is Queen Elizabeth looking at the 9 foot tall giant that they'd have on exhibit, and the guy in the bottom right is an old European giant that was around in the 1800s. Now, this is supposed to be mock-ups of a giant bat that they found, and you can see the humanoid over at the left and how big that this thing would be. And they made it a very humanoid looking bat. I think that's just silly, but it's supposed to be somewhere in South American Museum. Murcielago, they say it's authentic. They said the Sumerians were giants and that this was somewhat of an accurate depiction of them. Gilgamesh shows that he's picking up a lion right there, just like a kitty cat in his arms, maybe a little bigger than a kitty cat. Bobcatish, it just like it wasn't an issue for him. Bible says there were giants in land in those days. We all believe the story of David and Goliath somehow, but this seems to be more difficult to swallow. Texas, they have giant human footprints right next to dinosaur tracks down at Glen Rose, and you can see where a person has walked across on this path while a dinosaur has walked across up on this path. So, yeah, Glen Rose, Texas, definitely a place to take a look at there. There's dinosaur tracks everywhere through this. They found in these creek beds, but that's a human footprint.